Hello, everyone. If everything is working correctly, you should be seeing and hearing me, and we should be getting ready to dive into a very special episode of, excuse me, of our programming here, in which I will be creating a character for use with Dead Man's Rust, which will be played by Matthew Dawkins in a forthcoming episode of the Onyx Pathcast. So, if you have any troubles hearing me or anything like that, if there's any clarity issues, please sound off in the chat and let me know. In case you were unaware, a couple things. One, um, Dead Man's Rust came out this past month in PDF and POD over Drive-Thru RPG. So if you have not yet picked up your copy, if you didn't pre-order it or something along those lines, you should head over and pick it up. And I will get that link and get it dropped into the chat momentarily. Oh, excellent. Thank you very much for letting me know that I sound good, Nicole. Appreciate it. So yeah, the other thing I wanted to make sure you're aware of is that the Aether Kickstarter is starting in like 58 minutes. So I'm going to try to wrap up before then, and so we can, or like around then, so we can share the link and go look at it together, and then I can mess off, and you can go and do the backing of the Aether. It's a very cool book. I am absurdly excited to see it out in the world. I got to work on the powers, so I greatly hope that you all enjoy them. I think it's a very cool take on Trinity Continuum, and I highly recommend you back it on Kickstarter. The link I'm throwing in the chat right now is for Dead Man's Rust. And you can pick that up, like I said, in POD or PDF right now. Or you can head over to your friendly local game store and request it, and they can order it through Studio 2 or through Indie Press Revolution. All right, and let me just double check and make sure that I'm not talking completely out of my tailpipe about this Aether Kickstarter. Yep, yeah, we're just under an hour out. So let's find out if we can create a character for Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition in less than an hour. I spoke with Mr. Dawkins, and he has elected to play a member of the Slytherin people, which are like rat folk. And he wants to play a cleric, as is often the case when Matthew plays D&D. So I ran the idea of Cleric of Ankeely because Matthew likes Tempest clerics, and let me just verify by grabbing this lovely copy of Scarred Lands Player's Guide, which is also available at your friendly local game store or at Drive-Thru RPG. And I'm going to look up which cleric belongs to which domain. So, Cleric of Ankeely, Tempest, and Trickery. So I'm going to give Matthew a Tempest cleric because we all know how much he loves the sea. If you have any questions while we're working on this, feel free to pop them in chat. Helps if you highlight your message or using Chips of Onyx, which is our channel currency, or if you type question in all caps at the beginning of the chat. That also helps me spot them. So we know we're going for class is going to be Cleric. Subclass is going to be Tempest. And this campaign, this one shot that we'll be running for the Pathcast, The characters are going to be level 10. Race, we're going Slytherin. And for sub-race, in the Core Skylands Player's Guide race rules, the Slytherin do not have any sub-races. Okay. But when we expanded the people's rules for Youngman's Guide to Gelspad, we broke it out a little bit differently. So we're going to use those advanced rules while we're creating this character. So just give me a moment to bring up the Slytherin. And the Slytherin are a very young people. They're rat folk who were created during the Divine War by the Titan of like disease and pestilence and grossness. So they're very new to the world, which I think is very exciting. They've become quite industrious in terms of like literally like engineering and things along those lines. And there's a strong divide between them, those who are still loyal to the Titans and those who have embraced the gods and become redeemed. They're very cool people. I recommend, if you're going to check out Skylands, give the Slytherin a look. They're a lot of fun. So the basic traits that they're going to get as a member of the Slytherin is they can choose between Constitution, or their Constitution increases by 2, and then their other choice is based on subrace. So they will start out. We're going to do a standard array. I'm just going to put a +2 here for now. Age, that's up to Matthew. Size, they're medium. I don't think we need to change that on here anywhere. Base walking speed is 30. But they also get to climb at the same speed. So climbing does not cost extra movement. Rather than them having like an actual climb speed, climb just doesn't cost them extra movement. It's a slight mechanical variance, but I think it's an interesting place to play with how that comes across. All right, so next up, we've got Dark Vision at 60 feet. Sorry about that. I am not very good at talking and typing at the same time. It's something that I am acutely aware of and constantly working on. You have a bite attack. It says here, which is a finesse weapon with which you have proficiency. The attack deals 1d3 piercing damage. So that's kind of cool. And rather than sit here and type all this stuff out, I realize I have a digital copy of Youngman's Guide to Gelspad, so I should be able to copy and paste the stuff. Now, funny story about that. As you saw, there's the you may have saw in the Monday meeting notes. There's been a partnership formed between Roll20, which you'll notice is what we're doing these characters in today, and Drive-Thru RPG. That partnership, one of the perks of it is that it is ideally going to be coming with some PDF integration into Roll20, which is nice. So maybe I won't have to do all this manual data entry. That would be cool. Because one of the reasons why it takes so long to roll out VTT stuff is that it is very data entry heavy. I'm just going to bring up Youngman's Guide to Gelspad here on my handy dandy desktop. And Youngman's Guide to Gelspad has a whole host of peoples and spells, backgrounds, subclasses. It really is like bang for your buck, dollar for dollar, one of the best 5e supplements I've ever seen, and I'm not just saying that because I developed it. That is credit to my amazing team. So I really would love it if you would go check out Yugman's Guide to Gelspad. That's available in POD and PDF at Drive Through RPG. We're bringing up our Slytherin. All right. So we were at the bite attack. So we're just going to add that. Instead of adding that as a new feature, we're just going to straight up add that as an attack. Yeah, the custom sheet is broken, Nano, or the process of building one is broken. Let's see. Okay, so bite's a finesse weapon, so no way to easily make finesse in here, so we're gonna assume we're gonna go dex high right now, and I'll try to remember to come back and change it if I can't. So 1d3 plus strength, and the bite attack is piercing. Okay. I'm going to just go ahead and copy the description from the PDF into the character sheet. Just so that way, if it is needed for whatever reason, we've got it on hand. All right. The next ability is Contortionist. Slytherin have advantage on dexterity checks to escape bonds or being grappled, as well as dex checks to squeeze through tight spaces. Because, you're a humanoid rat. So that makes it pretty easy to do those things. Contortionist racial Slytherin. And then we'll just paste that sucker right there. And we will go to bite. And delete it because it doesn't actually need to be in there. One of the things that I've kind of tried to adopt when I'm working on VTT sheets, particularly that are just for like practical use, is just trying not to like make sure that I'm I try not to duplicate work or put things in places that they don't necessarily need to be for you to function with the character. Okay, so we got Contortionist. Next up is Disease Resistance. Slytherin have advantage on saving throws against disease. And we have a Slytherin in Sins of Shelzar, played by the amazing and wonderful Rachel Judd. And I frequently forget that she's not poison resistant. Much to her frustration, because I toss oodles of poison damage at her. Rodent empathy. You can converse with rodents through body language and simple sounds. That's pretty neat. I am a fan. I actually used something similar, the similar halfling feature, or gnome feature, I should say, um, when I played through Down in the Hole in Rich's game for Crossroads Continent. It's nice to have little mousy buddies. And lastly, Slytherin are sure-footed. When you select skill proficiencies from your class during character creation, you can add athletics, acrobatics, and stealth to your list of choices. So that's kind of a neat little bonus. Like, you don't automatically get proficiency in these skills, but because of sort of the predilections you have as your species, hey, hello, you have a free opportunity to take proficiency in them. I think that's a cool way to handle that. Because I think it handles the inclusivity factor, right? The idea that, you know, trying to take a step away from like biodeterminism, but also gives you that sort of cultural predisposition, I guess, or even just physical predisposition because of, you know, the hearing abilities of the Slytherin because of their ears, or, you know, having animal-like senses. I think that's kind of a neat way to tackle that uh, system widget, I guess I would say. Okay, so that wraps up everything that we get from the base Slytherin people. So there are. Okay. In the advanced rules, all redeemed Slytherin are of the same family. While other Slytherin families exist, they remain loyal to the Titans. Okay. But they can take different heritages, which are because the way that we broke them down in the advanced rules for Yugmans is instead of just having like a sub race, you have the family, which is like the bloodlines you're descended from, and then you have your heritage, which is the um, sort of cultural aspects you've adopted. So the heritages for Slytherin are Builder and Tunnel Runner. Builder focus on engineering, their intelligence score increases. Tunnel runners favor adventure, excitement, and on occasion violence, and your dexterity increases. Um, they each come with some additional proficiencies as well. So I think we're going to give Dawkins a tunnel runner. We'll give that dex a bump. So now we're looking at and they gain proficiency. The Slytherin, I'm going to give him Dunahan because everybody in this campaign is proficient with Dunahan. And they get a couple of additional weapon proficiencies. So, it's like light crossbow. Looks like short bow and short sword. So regardless of anything else, they get proficiency with those weapons. That's cool. All right. So that part is covered. Let's do our core class build. So we're going Cleric Tempest. For now, I'm going to minimize Yugman's and get that out of my way. And once again, just a reminder in the chat, if you have any questions, comments, complaints, concerns, anything you want to discuss, pop question in all caps at the beginning, or highlight your message with chips of Onyx, which are our channel currency. Just to that way to make sure that I see it. I'm going to bring up D&D Beyond. Just for some system referencey stuff. So we're talking a cleric. Now the quick build that they recommend is Wisdom being highest, followed by Strength or Constitution, and then choose the Acolyte background. How about we take some of that advice? Let's do Wisdom as our 15. We're doing a standard array for character. Let's do Strength as our... No. Yes. Let's do Strength as our 14. We'll do Dex as our 13, which makes it a 14. We'll do Constitution as our 12, which with the +2 makes it a 14. And we'll do Charisma 10, Intelligence 8. And that sounds about workable for a Cleric of Enkeely, to be honest with you, especially of the Tempest domain. So let's bring up some of these features. So now, like I said, we know we're going 10th level. Let's do a little bit of calculation here real quick. At 10th level, your hit point maximum. I know watching me do math must be super compelling because I'm not very good at it. So I apologize while you watch me struggle. So you're looking at 5 plus con mod per cleric level after first. So we got 9 times 2, so that's 18. Plus 5 times 9 is 45. So 63 plus 10. So hit point max is 73. We add our armor proficiencies, which are light, medium, shields. We add our simple weapon proficiency. No tools. Saves are already picked out for us by Roll20. Thanks, Roll20. And skills, we had 2 from history, insight, medicine, persuasion, and religion. I think we're going to go with religion, of course. Why wouldn't we? But then we're going to pop over to these features we got. And because we're sure-footed, we're going to add stealth. And we're going to take stealth as a proficiency. Because nothing says Cleric of Enkili like I'm sneaky. We'll come back around to equipment, do it last. Grab spells here in a little bit as well. Just want to make sure I got that right. That's all figured out for us, so that's good. All right, so Channel Divinity. That can go in under items, which seems like a weird place to put it, but I guess since you can use it as like you can use it as attacks, you can use it as multiple different things. It's a resource, whether or not it has an attack and whether or not you have it equipped. I guess it makes sense. Just it struck me as a very strange place to put things like class features. So yeah, you get Channel Divinity. You can use it once between rests. At 6th level, you can use it twice between rests, and at 18th, 3. So we've got Channel Divinity of 2. And of course, Turn Undead. So I'm just going to copy. Paste real quick. All right. Next we have ASI or Feats. I'm going to just go straight ASI, partially for time. Partially because I don't think that Matthew will get too bent out of shape of me if I don't drop a bunch of feats. Although, no, won't do that with feats. So ASI, we're going to drop 2 to intelligence on the first one. And we're going to drop 1 wisdom. Nope. And 1 dexterity. On the second ASI. So those are out of the way. 5th level, you get Destroy Undead. Comes from class Cleric. Let's paste that in there without the chart, though, because that's silly. And then at 10th level, Divine Intervention. I'm sure that won't cause any problems whatsoever in this one shot. I absolutely 100%, no joke, completely and utterly trust Matthew Dawkins to use that responsibly and or amusingly. So happy to have somebody at the table with divine intervention. All right. So those are the class features that we get from just the base cleric class. Now, we had said Tempest domain. Again, because I know my target audience. So we can add a couple things from that. They get the proficiency with martial weapons and heavy armor. So let's edit those. Simple and martial. They get Wrath of the Storm. Ooh, that's fancy. At first level, you can thunderously rebuke attackers. When a creature within 5 feet of you that you can see hits you with an attack, you can use your action to cause the creature to make a dexterity saving throw. So that's kind of cool. Basically a hellish rebuke, but instead you're doing thunder or lightning, your choice. And I don't recall offhand which book the Tempest Cleric is actually in. But again, that, it merits mentioning that Scarred Lands is available for 5th edition, so it's compatible with anything that's compatible with the OGL. All right. Channel Divinity, Destructive Wrath. That sounds pretty cool. Starting at 2nd level, you can use your Channel Divinity to wield the power of the storm with unchecked ferocity. When you roll lightning or thunder damage, you can use your Channel Divinity to deal maximum damage instead of rolling. That's pretty dope, too. I need to play a Cleric of Enkeely. They're a lot of fun, it sounds like. At 6th level, you gain Thunderbolt Strike. When you deal lightning damage to a large or smaller creature, you also push it 10 feet away from you. That's pretty dope. Yeah, so you can do all sorts of thundery and lightning-y stuff with Tempest Cleric. At 8th level, Divine Strike. You gain the ability to infuse your weapons with divine energy. Once on each of your turns, when you hit a creature with a weapon attack, you can deal extra thunder damage. That's dope. All right, so that's everything that we're getting from the domain there. That puts us at about the halfway mark. I'm going to just take a quick 5-minute step away. Hang tight. I'll be right back, and we will button up this character when I return. Dreadfully sorry about that, folks. I just had to collect some hydration. So, while I'm hydrating, we've got all of the class features here. I'm going to try to get them into something resembling good order for Matthew so that he's not having to chase all over the sheet. Biggest thing is making sure all of our features involving like channel divinity are together. So that way it's nice and easy. Thanks, Roll20. I accidentally tapped a right click, I think. Oh, hey, Dixie hopped on. That's neat. I could handle a thing real quick for tomorrow. Okay. That's done. Sorry about that. Minor technical difficulty. Yeah, I'll clean up the sheet after stream. So we've got the bite, we've got the claw. There we go. Editing completed. All right, so spells and gear. This character mancer isn't doing us too bad. It's pretty nice. All right, so the spells and gear is going to be kind of a two-step process. First, I'm going to grab stuff that's just in the, the basic SRD, and then I will scroll through some Skyland spells, see if there's anything specifically that leaps out at me. So over to the spell sheet. And now, obviously, once Matthew takes over the character, Matthew can change anything that's not, like the domain spells. You can reassign the spell breakdown. But let me get these added in. Fog cloud. Thunderwave. Gust. Shatter. Call lightning. Sleet storm. Which I don't think is, I guess it is. Control water. Ice Storm. Destructive Wave. I don't know if that is or not. Oh, so I'll have to look that one up. Insect Plague, I'm almost sure, is not in the SRD. Oh, I guess it is. Son of a bee. Who knew? Son of a bee. Insect Plague. Funny. I crack myself up. So, those are the spells that are automatic as part of the domain. But the cleric also prepares spells, so it's wisdom modifier plus cleric level, minimum of 1 spell. So we're looking at 10, 13 spells that can be prepared. Plus, at 10th level, we know 5 cantrips. So I'm just going to test drive. Oh, don't like that. I was going to test drive the compendium there for a second, but didn't go the way I wanted it to. So I'm going to go ahead and type here in chat. I'm going to use chat as my personal character creation notebook. And I'm going to say we have 13 spells to prepare. If you have an idea of a cleric spell that we should toss this way, let me know. Pop it in chat. We've got spell slots available up through 5th level. I'm going to bring up some spells, some cleric spells. We're going to sort them by level and then by name. All right. So obviously we're going to want Spare the Dying. Thaumaturgy. Let's do Word of Radiance. That sounds exciting. A little sad we're already diving into the territory of custom spells, but you know. The SRD is somewhat limited in its own presentation of stuff, so. Cast in time was 1 action. It's Evocation Cantrip, 1 action. Range of 5 feet. Components, verbal material, a holy symbol. And you utter a divine word, burning radiance erupts from you. Each creature of your choice you can see within range must succeed on a con save or take 1d6 radiant damage. It's a nice way to not be crowded. And that goes off of a Constitution save, so... Oh no, the spellcasting ability, though, is... Got 2 more cantrips. Let's check Yugman's Guide to Gelspad, in part because Yugman's Guide to Gelspad has a significant amount of nautical type stuff in it, which I think Matthew would dig. So let's check that new spell list on page 97 of Yugman's. And once again, I want to remind you this is available in PDF and POD over at DriveThruRPG. You should definitely check it out. Okay, we don't have any new cleric cantrips in here. Let's check and see if we have any new cleric cantrips in Skylands Player's Guide. We have new cleric first levels, but no cleric cantrips. So we have enumerate, which I dig, but not enough to write it down. So let's go with guidance and light instead. All right. Spells are addressed for cantrips. Now we have 13 spells. Antibiotic injection. Yes, exactly. So you're talking about like resistance to disease? We can probably find something along those lines, right? All right. So now we're into our first level spells. We have 13 spells to prepare. We automatically already got Fog, Cloud, and Thunderwave, which I know Matthew will love having for free. Create or Destroy Water. Do we not have that? It's funny. Definitely going in there. So that's 12 we have left. Cure Wounds, obviously. That's 11. Mass Cure Wounds is what level? 5th. So that's 10. I sure bet Detect Magic is going to come in handy. So that's 9. And then let's do Sanctuary because let's see, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, let's do Sanctuary because there's nothing to me funnier than a cleric of a god of mischief casting I guess I'm working or I'm super delayed, one of the two. Weird. That's funny. I think it paused. Weird. Sorry about any bizarreness that you've run into while watching this because of roll 20 stuff. That's interesting to know. We'll have to keep an eye out for that. All right, so where was I? Yeah. Oh yeah. So Cleric of Enkeeli, like talking smack to someone and then having Sanctuary up so they can't attack them, to me is hilarious. Um, so we got 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have 9 left. All right. Um, we're up into the second level. I like Augury. I think Augury is funny, and that sounds like something that an Enkeeli cleric would probably know. So now we're down to 8. I believe. Let's see. Just checking our new spells here to see if there's anything that leaps out at me. Enkeeli's Luck is a new spell from Youngman's Guide to Gelfbad. That I think it would be a tragedy if we didn't have a Cleric of Enkeeli take, right? So this will leave us with, I believe, 8 left to prepare. So if you have any ideas, feel free to toss them in chat. Spell's name is Enkeeli's Luck. It is a transmutation, level 1, actually. So let me get that under the right level. All the good cleric spells are first level and pumpable. I wonder, you know what? No, I won't do that to Dawkins. I won't do that to Dawkins. I like him too much. I was gonna prep out a character that just had level 1 spells prepared. Because there's so much in the cleric wheelhouse that is good at level 1 that you can then pump. This is not one of those spells, though. So Enkeeli's Luck, first level transmutation, you call upon Enkeeli to bestow a stroke of fortune upon the subject. The casting time is 1 action, range is touch. And it's VSM with your material component being fur from a black cat. But I have the PDF open, so let me just drop that in from there. All right. It's an instant duration. And you touch a willing creature, the creature gains advantage on their next attack, roll, ability check, or saving throw. It's a nice little booster for your buddies. And now at second level, I do believe Enkeeli's Prank is also a cleric spell. So we're going to drop Ankyles Prank. Second level enchantment. Which means you know it's a terrible, awful effect because all the enchantment spells are like cruel. One action, 30-foot range, verbal somatic components, and an instantaneous duration. You point at a creature you can see in range. The creature must succeed on a wisdom saving throw or they are affected by the prank. If the saving throw fails, the next spell the target invokes is chosen randomly by the game master from the target's remaining prepared spells. If the target has only one spell prepared when afflicted by the prank has no effect. This spell has no effect on creatures that do not prepare spells. The target must attempt to cast a spell within an hour of Ankyles Prank being cast, or the prank's power is lost. It is a nice way to screw with a fellow spellcaster. You just straight up make them cast something random. It's funny. I don't know. I guess I have a weird sense of humor, but I find it hilarious. And so that means that we have 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8. Open wounds. Cast open wounds. How about silence is always good. Seven left. Five left. Let's go a little bit further up the chain here into third level spells. Once again, gonna check Yugman's. I appreciate y'all's patience while I fiddle around with this. And holy cow, it is 2 p.m. And that means that I need to share with y'all the link to our Kickstarter. Go forth. Flood the Kickstarter. Back Trinity Continuum Aether. I had the opportunity to work on the powers. I love the book. I highly recommend you back it. I think it's going to be super dope. I cannot wait to have it in my hot little hands. Go back Aether. All right. Diving back into our character creation. We're on third level spells now. So in Yugman's, let's see if there's any other second levels we want. Brand of Light is dope. Grim Feast is cool, but not on this character. Sunspear. I love Sunspear. I give it to every character I can. I'm going to give it to this character too. It's one of my favorite spells. And Sunspear is a second level spell. It's Evocation. Casting time is one action. Verbal somatic components. Range is 60 feet. Lasts for a minute. Does not require concentration. What it does do is it generates like this glowing spear in your hand that sheds bright light for 10 feet and dim light for an additional 10 feet. You can hold on to the spear and use it as a torch, basically. like a light source. But you can also make, and it gives you disadvantage on stealth checks. As a bonus action on your turn, you can make a ranged spell attack using the spear, which targets an ally or an enemy. If it hits the enemy, they take radiant damage equal to 2d4 plus your spellcasting ability mod, and have to make a con save or be blinded until the end of their next turn. However, on a ranged attack spell against an ally, they regain 2d4 plus your spellcasting ability modifier in hit points. And if they are healed beyond their hit point maximum, those are added on as temporary hit points. So you got that going for you. It's pretty fancy. Sorry, my PDF reader is being a pain in the... being a PITA reader. Looking for one. Oh. And then you can, of course, spend higher spell slots to increase the damage and or healing. So that is a dope spell from Yugman's Guide to Gelspad. One of my faves. All right. And that leaves us, let's see, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7. We got 4 more spells to pick, right? We are not making necromancers because necromancers are the good in Dead Man's Rust. We are actually making a Tempest cleric, a cleric of Enkili, the god of mischief and storms. So, yeah, not a necromancer this time. In fact, the one shot that I'm going to be running, there will be no necromancers present. Yeah, so they're in for some stuff. But it'll all work out. I have faith in them. All right, 4 spells left, 3 levels worth of spells to discuss. I don't know that there's a 5th level spell we need to add besides what's already auto prepped, but I will check. Ooh, Dark Water. I may change my tune on that. Let's see. Dark Water. This insidious spell owes its origin to a coven of evil druids that set itself up on the Liar's Sound. Having ready access to an inhabited body of water, it's only a matter of time before the druids turn their dark intellects to the question of how to warp it to their evil ends. You imbue a patch of water up to 10 cubic feet with negative energy for a limited time. Each action you spend concentrating allows you to move the fetid water 30 feet. You can take other actions and come back and concentrate on moving the dark water as you please for the duration of the spell. On each of your turns, the dark water moves based on any current that exists within the larger body of water in which it is part. Any other living creature that comes into contact with the dark water suffers 48 necrotic damage per round it remains in contact. Successful Constitution save halves the damage taken. If cast upon a creature made of water, the creature gets Constitution save to avoid instant destruction. Yeah, we're gonna give them dark water especially because this character has Creator Destroy Water, right? So what a 1-2 punch. I can splash some water on you on this empty bucket that I'm carrying, and then cast dark water on the empty bucket, or on the water from the empty bucket. And it's VSM, Bone of an Undead Creature, and 2 pieces of smoked glass. Nooch. And the range is 60 feet, so you could like splash someone with water that you created with Create or Destroy Water, let them run for a minute, and then hit them with this. And that to me would be hilarious. Oh, and it's concentration up to an hour. As much fun, many excites. Sorry, you're about to have a little bit of a issue with the window as I adjust Roll20 because it's not behaving itself. All right, let's see. What have we got? Back into my character sheet. Sorry, every once in a while, Roll20 will do this thing when you're working on your character where when you go to add something custom to the character sheet, like checkboxes and things like that disappear. You have to reboot. Bummer. I apologize. So yeah, and you can pump dark water as well. Like I said, cleric spells are all pumpable, and that's dangerous. And I love it. See, this doesn't pump for more damage though. This pumps for a larger body of water you can control. So dark water. I know those all look very ugly right now. I will fix them off stream. So we had 2 more spells. And we have not yet prepped anything for 3rd or 4th level. So if you have an idea for a spell that you would like to throw out there, now's the time. Highlight your message using Chips of Onyx. Type spell in all caps at the beginning. Otherwise, I'm going to start looking through some spells here. We have relied very heavily on Yugman's Guide to Gelspad, available in POD and PDF over Drive-Thru RPG. I'm going to take one quick gander through the Skylands Player's Guide and our Cleric Spells and see if there's anything in here that really leaps out to me as like, oh, yeah, Matthew would love that, or oh, this is perfect for this character. Otherwise, we're going to go straight SRD for the last couple spells. We have a 3rd level spell and a 4th level spell. The character is 10th level. So, sorry, there's like hella delay because Dixie came in to be funny on the stream and then realized that for some reason her token was messing up the stream, which is weird and concerning. So I need to look into why that was doing that. Because that shouldn't do that. So that is not Dixie's fault. That is something wrong with Roll20 and or OBS and or my browser. Okay, so for Cleric Spells in the SLPG, we've got Adamantine Undead, Aqueous Form, Weapon of Light, and Winged Mount. I think Aqueous Form is going to be the 3rd level spell that we're going to do for sure. Because that is dope. Turning into a body of water, I think, is possibly Dawkins' actual life goal. So, when possible, I try to appease my players' dreams and hopes and fantasies, because it really, at the end of the day, isn't that what we're all doing here? Aqueous Form. So yeah, still got room for a 3rd or 4th level spell. I mean, we got room for spells anywhere up to 5th level, really, but one more spell to prepare. An aqueous form is transmutation, 1 action, range touch. Excuse me. Components are VSM, including a few drops of water, which obviously our Tempest Cleric is going to have readily available. And it's concentration up to 10 minutes. And until the spell ends, one willing creature you touch, along with anything that they wear or carry, transforms into a clear, colorless liquid similar in consistency to warm syrup. The spell ends, the target drops to 0 hit points, and corporeal creatures unaffected. While in this form, the target has resistance to non-magical damage, acid damage, fire damage, is immune to damage from falling, has advantage on strength, dexterity, and constitution saving throws. Target cannot attack, cast spells, or use other powers, talk, or manipulate objects. Objects transformed with the target are inaccessible until the spell ends. When moving, they use their normal speed, but swimming costs no extra movement. They can enter and occupy the space of another creature, as well as pass through any opening through which water can flow. Since the target appears to be water, it has advantage on stealth checks. When it hides anywhere, a puddle of water might be ignored. Normal water and similar liquids render the target heavily obscured. So here's the combo. Okay. You aqueous form your buddy. You cast dark water on that aqueous form. It doesn't affect them, right? Because they are the water. I don't know. Does it affect them? I'd have to read both. Maybe that won't work. Darn. I guess we'll just have to stick to the create and destroy water. Okay, I got a couple suggestions. Ghost Dwemer, Inquisition. Are we just pulling from Yugman? Weapon of Nature is probably the way we're gonna go. Pressure Sphere is dope too, though. But if I know Matthew does not. Oh, Pressure Sphere is the opposite one. It's one where you actually inflict pressure on someone. Yeah, let's do that one. Weapon of Nature is dope, but I think we're gonna do Pressure Sphere. Thanks, Lecco. Pressure Sphere is in. Oh, that's in a WotC book, isn't it? Yes, no? Y'all, it goes to show you, like, how confused you can wind up getting when you try and keep track of these 7,000 sources. There we go. Page 110. Sorry about me digging through books and whatnot. Oh, that funny. I'm flipping through the book and you're telling me what page it's on. Sorry about that. All right, so Pressure Sphere, 4th level transmutation. Turn the crushing weight of water upon your aquatic foes. That is, yeah, 100% a Matthew Dawkins spell. But the other thing that's cool about it is you can cast it like even in shallow water and stuff like that. Like, for example, through a Creator Destroy Water spell that had Dark Water cast on it. Now, I think I've house ruled before that you can use this on air pressure, or that you could do it at variant, but I will not be running that way with this. Casting time is 1 action. Your range is a 20-foot radius sphere within 60 feet. And it's VSM with wax-covered string. Material component. At an instant duration. All right. So really all that's left is to add the prepackaged equipment, and then we'll be buttoned up. So once again, if you have any questions, the one shot that I'm running, that I'm making this character for, will be on the Pathcast. It's going to be a podcast. We will have myself, Pathcast crew, and a special guest, and it will tie into the actual play that we did at Onyx PathCon, sort of. So definitely be sure you're keeping an eye out for that. And like I said, if you haven't run over to drop your support at the Trinity Continuum Aether Kickstarter, there's the link for that. While we're buttoning that up, I'm going to do the last bit of equipment here. Just to make things go quickly, I'm going to do kind of the standard build packages out of the Skylands Player's Guide. And those are found on 124 and 125. So, as a Slytherin, start out with a short sword and a light crossbow or short bow. So, back to the worksheet. And then we got bolts. The Dungeoneer's pack and common clothes. And then as a starting cleric, armor worth 50 gold pieces or less, a shield, your deity's favorite weapon. What is Enkile's favorite weapon? Let's look at the cleric class and find out. Flail. Well then, let's do a flail. We've got armor worth 50 gold or less. Do a chain shirt for 50 gold. Let's do that. And a shield. Priest pack. And for the sake of time and simplicity, we are just going to offer the Acolyte background. Partially, like I said, just to get things rolling here. All right. So that is Matthew's character. I'll clean it up off stream, but that character is good to go. Once again, I do want to remind you that the reason for the season here is, we've got Dead Man's Rust is just released. It's available in PDF and POD at DriveThruRPG, and will be available on POD very, very soon. In traditional printing, your FLGS, I should say. It'll be shipping out to Kickstarter backers, and then pretty much right away after that will be available at your friendly local game store. So be sure to go in, tell them you want Scarred Lands, Dead Man's Rust. They can order it from Studio 2. They can order it from Indie Press Revolution. I've also just posted the link there in the chat. I want to remind you that Aether is on Kickstarter right now. I just posted the link up there a few moments ago. And for the Monday meeting notes, my first novella comes out on Wednesday. I co-wrote a novella with my wife, Sarah. It's called Terrat. It is my 40,000 word essay on why Divismal was right. It's an interesting and deep exploration of the Terrigen from multiple perspectives. You may learn a few things about the Terrigen that maybe you didn't know going into it. And I think you'll enjoy the experience of riding along firsthand as somebody is introduced to the tenets of Terrace. On that bright, shiny note, I would like to thank everybody for tuning in, whether you're live or in Memorex, as it were. If you've not yet done so, please sure to like, follow, subscribe to the channel, all that good stuff. I will be back here tomorrow night for Scarred Lands, Dead Man's Rust. The group is currently in the Sanctum of the Grey Messiah. They just triggered an alarm. They might not make it. So you should tune in. They do have some surprise help coming, though. An old friend is rejoining the stream. So you don't want to miss out. That's tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Eastern. Scarred Lands, Dead Man's Rust, Sins of Shelzar. You kids stay out of trouble. Make sure you wash your hands, wear a mask, hydrate, get your shots if you haven't. And we'll see you again real soon. I know.